Hello.
Hey Vedant, good evening.
Good morning. How's it going?
Yes, it's all right. What time it is there right now?
7 p.m.
So I have calculated it exactly correct that it's 7 p.m.
Yeah, thank you for adjusting to the time zone. Really value that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We
So
will
are we
quickly
waiting for some
start.
more people to join in, or
Yes, we will start within 5 minutes.
okay, yeah, sounds good.
Bhakti, we will start at 8:35.
PPT presentation start कर दूं?
Sure, Kashif. We may proceed.
Good morning, everyone,
Good morning.
Good
and good
morning.
evening, Vedant.
Good morning.
I'll start with the meeting. Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you. On behalf of IEEE CIS SBC GHRCE Nagpur, I'm delighted to welcome you to CIS Unplugged. My name is Bhakti, and I'll be your host for today's session. We're truly glad to have you here with this morning. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to briefly introduce IEEE CIS SBC GHRCE by sharing our vision and mission with all of you. Our vision is to build a vibrant community of researchers and innovators at IEEE CIS GHRC, driving computational intelligence, AI, and ML to expand knowledge, grow careers, and create responsible real world situations. Our mission is to educate by empowering students with knowledge in AI, to innovate by encouraging research driven projects and creative problem solving, to connect by building a global network of professionals and mentors, and to lead by developing ethical leaders ready to shape the future of technology. Before we begin, please take note of the following ground rules. Kindly keep your microphone muted throughout the session unless instructed otherwise. You may share your questions via chat box or use the raise hand feature during the designated Q&A segment. This session is being recorded and streamed live for future reference. We request all the participants to refrain from discussions related to sex, religion, and politics. Please respect the speaker's time and platform. Avoid interrupting a speaker while the speaker is addressing the audience. Thank you for your cooperation, and I hope we have a productive session ahead. With these guidelines in mind, we would like to introduce our mentor and we would like to acknowledge the gratitude we have towards them. Our mentor, Director Dr. Sachin Ontawale, is the guiding force behind the growth of successful IEEE CIS. With a deep commitment and academic excellence, the student development, they continuously support, encourage, and guide our chapters' initiatives. Their visionary leadership, constant motivation, and unwavering belief in our potential inspires us to think beyond limitations, uphold professional values, and strive for meaningful impact. We are truly grateful for their mentorship and continued support. Along with our mentor's guidance, a chapter advisor plays a vital role in supporting and shaping our activities. Our chapter advisor, Dr. Achama Thomas Ma'am, head of AI department, has been the constant source of guidance and support for IEEE CIS chapter. With her strong academic leadership and student focused approach, she continuously encourages innovation, discipline, and excellence across all our initiatives. She was looking forward to being a part of today's sessions. However, due to prior commitments, she could not join us today. Nevertheless, her encouragement and mentorship continue to inspire us and guide us in on our endeavors. Her guidance reminds us that true growth is not defined by titles alone, but by continuous learning, adaptability, and the impact we create, bringing us seamlessly to the theme of today's session, growth beyond titles. Just 2 days ago, many of us celebrated Makar Sankranti, a festival that symbolizes new beginnings, process, progress, and growth. In many ways, that spirit aligns perfectly with today's discussion, where we look beyond the designations and talk about learning, evolution, and the journeys that truly define us. With that thought, let's begin with today's session. It gives me a great pleasure to introduce our speaker for today, Mr. Vedant Bahel. Vedant works on various pediatric healthcare projects focusing on predictive modeling, large language models, and converting research into usable products for clinical and research applications. His research interests also include human AI interaction and explainable AI. He currently works at the BC Children's Hospital Research Institute and has recently completed his master's in computer science from University of British Columbia. He is a METAX Global Graduate Fellowship Awardee 2022, a METAX GRI Scholar 2021, and a IEEE Richard E. Mervyn Awardee 2021. He is also a two-time TEDx speaker, the author of the book Python Programming for Projects for Beginners, and has published 20 plus research papers with over 200 citations. With such a diverse and impactful journey, it gives me an immense pleasure to share that he is a founder chair of IEEE CIS at BC at our college. We're truly excited to hear his perspective on growth beyond titles. Vedant, we're grateful to have you here with us today. Welcome to CIS Unplugged.
Thank you
Are
for
you guys
having me.
excited? Are you guys excited for the session? If you're
Yes.
excited, show us a thumbs up and we will begin with the session. Great, I see a lot of excited faces. To take this conversation forward, I'd like to introduce our moderator for today's session, a person who intellectually finds a way out of the toughest problems, an important member of our chapter's research team, and my dear friend, Rajkumar Bhatia. He will lead the fireside chat and guide the discussion throughout the thoroughly curated questions. Moving ahead, I'd like to hand over the session to our moderator. Thank you, Rajkumar.
Thank you, Bhakti, for that energetic introduction. Despite this, we are in early mornings and people might be sleepy. I hope that they are awake now. Uh, Vedant sir, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. And as we explore this theme, and I come on to my very first question, you must have held several roles and responsibilities over the years, right? But as today's theme is growth beyond the titles, when you reflect on your journey so far, what does this growth beyond the titles personally mean to you?
Well, I think Bhakti answered that question, didn't she? It's more about skill, mindset, adaptability. And I think there's definitely some resonance there. It's, titles might change, but what remains is skills, mindset. Well, also skills will change, but mindset and adaptability and values of what you want to do. Well, I think I can give an example or just a hypothetical scenario. If you're working for a company, you want to grow in that company, you're working as a software developer, um, and the say the CEO of this company is looking to promote one of the software developers to be the head of the department. Now, will this promotion go to a software developer who's good at software development, or will this go to someone who is more likely to play a role, the head of the department? I guess the answer is going to be the second one, right? Because as a head of the department, software development would be the last thing they would be doing. No head of the department of a technical company is actually building softwares themselves. They just need to know how to delegate that task to other software developers and make things happen. So in this particular case, being good at your job or being good at what your title is, or sticking to your title wouldn't land you growth. So growth is beyond title. Growth is when you have passion for doing something and it doesn't matter what title you hold. It's more about what you want to do and you'll achieve it in any way possible.
Thank you for that answer. That was a very beautiful way of summing up our theme today. As we move on, many people unknowingly tie their self worth to titles or recognition. So, how do you learn to separate your identity from external labels?
Well, I don't know if you need to do that. I think there isn't much problem in celebrating your recognitions. You don't really have to separate them out. The problem comes when there is a degree of arrogance with that recognition or with that title. So as long as that is not there, there's no problem celebrating your recognition to a level, and growing beyond that. Uh, that's how we grow. So there should be some positive reinforcement with what you're doing, so that you keep going. Some motivation to keep going.
So, do not be arrogant, celebrate your titles, but without arrogance.
Yeah,
I
you don't
hope
have to
that
completely separate it out.
I hope our members are noting things down. Now, moving on to the next question. What is one belief, habit, or mindset that you had to unlearn in order to grow?
That's a good one. Also makes me think a lot. I'll try to stitch my answer to my position at CIS back in 2020. Oh boy, that has been 5 years ago. So I think when I joined IEEE CIS, or when we started it back in 2020, um, the previous version of me to that, or even the initial version of me in the initial phase of CIS, believed that achieving something or being reliable meant doing hard work, doing more work, which later I found wasn't true. It's not about doing harder work or more work. It's about it, rather than being task focused, it's about impact focused. And one thing which I struggled with was delegating tasks and trusting ideas, which I think was something that I had to learn. And I had to unlearn the fact that, hey, I'm not always the correct one. There are other people, and you need to be open to other ideas. And sometimes the degree of openness has to be such that I still think this is wrong, but we'll still do it because you want to do it. And because you deserve a chance to do that. Your ideas deserve a chance, and it's not me who's going to make the final decision because I am not the person at authority to do that. As a chair, it's not it doesn't mean that I'm going to deny ideas or accept ideas, because we are still together in this process. And my job is to just make sure things are happening, not deciding how things are happening, but just making a collaborative environment, which took time to learn. And that unlearning and learning was interesting.
I can strongly relate to that. The part of facing difficulties with delegating roles to your team members. Anyone among us who has held a student role has been facing that difficulty. Now, let me ask you a question about the COVID times. Many students slowed down during that period, but you pursued an international online internship. So, how did you break out of that herd mentality? What kept you motivated during that time?
Well, I don't know if there was a herd mentality. Everyone was there kind of on their own path. Everyone had different objectives. For initial phase, no one knew how to deal with it. That was like a very different time. I don't know if it's going to come in next decades, and also no one in that time didn't come before that in the past 4 decades. So it was difficult. Um, Slowing down also wasn't a problematic thing. I think it was important. That was the best part about that time when you had an opportunity to slow down. I wish we had that opportunity now. I want to slow down and just do nothing, focus on myself, which I did back then. But I think, yeah, a part of that process was also to, like, another advantage that time was also to do beyond the limited geography that you're part of. Um, I don't know if I would have landed that internship if it was normal uh, in-person internship, because then you have to think about the logistics, you have to think about the money, visas, and lots of other things, which makes things so difficult. Like, I have had failed attempts with that with the other internships that I applied to. But this one was advantageous because it was COVID, because it was online, and because I could argue that, hey, if you're hiring someone in United States, and if you're hiring me, it's going to be the same thing because no one is coming to the lab right now. It's COVID. So it's really about just skills and nothing other than that. Um, I think with that advantage, I just made sure I used that advantage during that time, which worked out for me. Um, yeah.
As you said that you were working and you took the best of all the opportunities you had. For example, I was surrounded with friends who were just sleeping, watching TV, and wasting their times. And hence, I think that it is commendable that you, instead of just relaxing, I think it's very easy to do that during such a period when everybody is afraid or scared. But you did something well, and you worked on yourself, and you reached at a place where you wanted to. I really commend on you for that, and I look up
Thank
to
you.
you
But
for
also, I did a lot of relaxation, and I think the best part about that was especially being with family. Like I think I left home because I also did my 11th and 12th classes like outside my home. I'm originally from Vardha, so not so far. Like Nagpur is close by, but still I was in Nagpur, and my parents were in Vardha. So for 11, 12, and then GHRC, that 4 years of or 3 years of that, except COVID for 1 year, and then after that I moved here to Canada, and then I've been away from them. So in last 10 years, the only time I was with them was during COVID. Um, and so I did a lot of relaxation. But yes, there was a big mix of both, with planning your career and also relaxing.
Now, moving on to the next question. Did you always have a clear roadmap for your future, or did your journey unfold organically?
Oh, definitely not. Like I never have a clear roadmap for what I want to do. I don't know what I want to do tomorrow morning. I'll just find out as we go on the fly, and that's how it is always. There is uncertainty in life in general, but I think there is just higher uncertainty with how I function. I'm also very moody. If I think of something that I might like in next 5 days, it can change, uh, and I'll act on it. It's not like, hey, you've taken a decision, maybe stick to it. I'm like, no, I'm not sticking to it. If I don't feel like doing something, I'll not do it. And I'm not saying that it's a good thing to have. I'm not vouching for it, but that's how it is for me. So yeah, life unfolds organically for me, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it is not, but that is life.
You talked about uncertainty that we may face sometimes. Can you please expand on how you navigated uncertainty while moving forward?
Well, I guess I just swam through it. It's uncertainty while you are in that frame, but when I see things backwards, I can connect all the dots. Um, well, so I've been working on research projects since early on, like first year of engineering, or maybe towards the end, beginning of second year, or something like that. Um, and at that time, I did not know what I was going to do. Like, I did not know if I wanted to do a master's or I wanted to apply for a job. What field was that going to be in? Nothing. What I knew was I didn't want to do software development because I wasn't good at coding. But that wasn't what I would say. I would tell myself that it's boring, not because my skills are bad, just because I don't like it. Maybe it's mix of both. Um, so I was investing more time into data science, and at the same time, another reason for not doing um, just regular development was because I couldn't see impact in that process. I really wanted to do something which has like tangible impact, where I can see that something has been changed due to my work. And I saw that research is something like that. When you're researching for uh, like my research has always been in the sector of education and healthcare, using machine learning for education, using machine learning for healthcare. Where I saw there's impact, like those are two pillars of society, which are so important. Like that's how those are the two pillars that gives birth to everything else. Your education, your upbringing, your skilling up, um, is what leads to you doing more things in life, and just that's how the community is growing together, and also at the same time making sure that you're healthy. Um, so with my research, I saw that that was something that I could really resonate with. That if I continue doing that, um, there is a tangible impact that I can see, which will keep motivating me to do that. Um, and that was it. Like that was my motivation, but I didn't really know where I was heading. I I think I published a paper or something, um, and that conference was in 2019 in Dubai. Um, I presented my paper at that conference, came back to Nagpur, and there was this researcher who I really wanted to work with. I did email that researcher before that conference that, hey, I think my research is really similar to what you do. Is there an internship or is there any opportunity for me? And this person was in the US, and I was like, I can do it even without like, I don't want any stipend. I don't want you to fly me to US. I can just do it remotely and just volunteer to do it. And he said no to that. At that time, he was like, we're not looking for any internships. And after presenting my paper, I emailed him again. I'm like, hey, I presented this paper. Again, this paper is really similar to what you do. At least give it a read and let me know what you think. And he asked me to jump on a call, a Zoom call. We just discussed my paper, and he was like, well, maybe we can do a project together. And that's how I got that internship. I did that for, I think, 2 years parallel to completing my engineering. And seems like that person who I was working with, that professor, was very good friends with someone at UBC here in Vancouver who was doing a very similar job. And that person was like, I'm going to write an email to this friend of mine at UBC. And if you want to apply to UBC, I think that will be a good lab for you to be working at. I'm like, all right, I'll do that. I'll apply for my master's at UBC under this person. And the referral for that position was so strong that I got that master's position fully funded. And all of that, how it was happening, I don't know. It was so uncertain. There was nothing planned in that process. And one thing led to other. And I'm here. I did my master's, applied for a job here. I stayed here. And nothing of that was planned. It just happened organically.
It's really amazing how your journey unfolded. Now, you as you talked about research, how did your early research experience shape the way you approach problems today?
Well, okay. So with everything non-research, most of the things non-research, like the traditional approach or traditional jobs, they have a linear pattern. If you put in efforts, if you're skilled, you put in efforts, you'll likely get success. Like if you're a good software developer and you make a software, you're going to make a software. Like there's no problem in that. If you're skilled enough, you know how to do React, you know how to do Django, you know how to do Node, you'll make something up. It wouldn't be a problem. Maybe you need some help, some ChatGPT, some Claude, some Google search, some GitHub, and that might work. With research, even if you're skilled, it might not work. In more than 50% of the times, they're going to be failed experiments. Because it's not about doing something which has certainty. It comes with so much of uncertainty. There's a hypothesis that you're testing, and no one has done that before because that's research, that's innovation, and you don't know if you'll achieve success with that. Which initially was very annoying to me. I was like, I'm doing this, but I really don't know if this is going to be successful. And for a lot of my projects, especially with this person in the US I was working with, 2 of my projects that I worked with was like failures. And then he was just making a joke that since Vedant has joined this team, we have been having failures. And like, am I really to blame for that? But that wasn't really the reason, but that's in general how the research is. And that taught me patience, because yes, there are going to be a lot of failed experiments, and you got to keep going. It can take a lot of time. A project that you thought will take 2 months can take like 1 year or maybe 2 years, because something failed. You had to redo it, and then 6 months into it, you realize the idea was scrapped from the beginning, and you have to think through again from scratch. So research, definitely, my early research experience dealing with these failures and learning the uncertain process of doing it shaped the way I do work today, with patience and collaboration and just like resilience.
So you talked about failure. Can you share a setback or failure that later became a valuable lesson?
Can't really think of something. Though, like, because there's so many failures all the time. But if I were to think of something specifically, um, I know I really don't know. Maybe I'll come back to it if something comes into my mind.
Yeah, sure, let's do that. So let me ask you a personal question. What did choosing growth cost you? Comfort, certainty, or something else?
Well, there's definitely, some pain in gaining something, right? So gain
Yes.
doesn't come without pain. But if you're passionate about what you want to do, I think that pain is very momentary. Um, if you want to run a marathon and you really want to do a marathon completed, it's difficult because you haven't run. Maybe you're not used to running, and you haven't run that long distance ever. Um, and the process of training for a marathon will be painful. It'll be like, hey, I cannot do this. I don't have enough stamina to do this. Legs are paining. Um, but when you complete it, the sense of achievement will just erase all the pain, all the experiences of pain. All that pain was in the moment was a lot. Yes, it was to the limit where you thought you want to quit it. You don't want to do it anymore. But once you do it, it's um, it's you forget about the pain. So similarly, I really don't remember what my growth might have costed, uh, because once you achieve it, you don't really pay attention to what the cost of that was. You have moved beyond that.
As you talked about passion, for many students, it's really hard to find what they are passionate about and to what thing they should give their time to. So, what advice would you give to students who are torn between different interests?
Well, you don't know if something is going to work for you until you try it out. I think it's that one is really simple. And it's okay for your ideas to be non-conventional. It's okay for your ideas to be something that someone else is calling stupid, and you still go ahead with them because it's not them shaping your life, it's you shaping your life. And if there's something that you really want to do, just try it out, and that'll tell you how, if it's going to be good for you or not. And it's also okay to change, pivot at any time. Sometimes I think about doing something different and then I act on it. I'm like, maybe my formal education was in computer science and software development, but if I don't want to do it, I'll do something else. There isn't anything that should stop me.
So, to sum it up, just do it. You can't find until you do it.
Yeah.
So, we all have habits and mindsets, right? For example, I have a mindset that if I don't wake up early, I won't have a good day. And each and every time I do not wake up early, I have a bad day. So, what was that one habit or mindset that every student should consciously develop early in life that you think is very important?
Mhm. Well, I think constant skilling up is important. That's not just related to your career, but in general in life. There should be openness. There shouldn't be any rigidness with your thought processes. The world is changing all the time, and so are the people around it. So is the thought process. And if you have like rigid ways of dealing with something because you learned it was true, that's not going to work. I was reading a book this other day, which was, I think that book is titled Against Method by Paul Freeland, things like that. And he's an early philosopher who was set to write a dialogue with his friend. And the book is about philosophy of scientific innovation. And the book really opens with something which kind of opened my mind. All this time, how people say that, hey, this is true because this is scientific. Ab to science ne bhi prove kar diya ye aisa hi hai. How can you say something is not that? And that I would have used that all the time. And I mean, until I read that chapter, I would have used that sentence all the time, that if something has been scientifically proven, that is true. And that book talks about how science itself or innovation itself is also not a standard method. Like, it's not standardized. If all the inventions follow their own processes or method, there's not like a standard protocol that if you want to discover something, or if you want to invent something, step 1 do this, step 2 do this, step 3 do this. Every innovation follows a different set of methods, and those methods are what the scientists came up with by their own, and those were humans. So if the final product is really fact or not, you cannot really say that, because the method itself is questionable. So that's what the book is, against methods. Because if something is scientific, it doesn't mean it has to be true. And we know that from the fact that, for example, atom is the smallest element was a fact for a long time, until someone told that no, there are electrons inside atoms and there are some other elements inside atoms, and those are the smallest elements. And then someone came up with that, hey, I'm going to try to break electrons and find something inside it. So maybe they keep going, and they're overriding science all the time. So how can you say that something scientific is always true? Which was like, that's interesting. And that's how rigidity can be a problem. If you're rigid, you're closing down a lot of pathways, you're closing down on a lot of avenues. There should be openness, there should be learning constantly in life. And I think that keeps you going, and that keeps you in the market.
Good personal question. As you talked about reading, do you have a favorite book that you recommend?
I'm not very avid reader. This is like really maybe one of 5 books that I have read. And the other 4 books might be more like Diary of Wimpy or something. So yeah.
I'm an avid reader myself, so whenever I hear someone talking about books, I just jump onto the
Oh, that's a
bandwagon
good
and ask their
quality. Yeah.
favorite books.
That makes sense. I wish I was more into reading, but I'm trying to get myself more into reading. But really, it's difficult. I tend to take a lot of time completing a book, and then it's like maybe I read a chapter on week 1, and then once I sit for reading it, I'll complete a lot of things. Like I can read for longer time, and I can just complete a chapter or like a lot of pages, like half a book if I sit reading it. But doing that itself is difficult. Like, if I sit for session 1, maybe I'll read a chapter, and then session 2 doesn't happen for like 4 weeks or a month. And by the time that session 2 happens, I find motivation to sit again. I've already forgotten what chapter 1 was about. And then I have to go back to chapter 1 and then try to reconnect so that I can read it in a chronology. And then in that process, I get frustrated at some point and leave reading. So I'm struggling with that. I'll be beyond that struggle at some point.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. It happens when you are in the beginning phases of getting to really love reading. And though you are the guest today, I think I can give you an advice about reading.
Oh, definitely.
I would say start
Openness,
with
right?
shorter
Openness
books.
and learning. So I need to be open to getting advice. Yeah.
Yes, so what I did was start with shorter books or stories. For example, John Paul Sartre or Albert Camus, they have really shorter ones, like 40, 50 pages, good philosophies. So maybe you start with them, and then when you get a sense of accomplishment, you explore what you are really into. That's what I did, and that's what worked for me.
It's good. I'll follow that. What were the names again? John.
John Paul Sartre and Albert
Okay.
Camus.
All right.
Uh,
That's good.
okay. Well, let's get back on track and do something for the students. So, if there is one thought you would like everyone here to carry forward in their own journeys, what would it be?
Well, I think that was kind of the same as your previous question, which was like one skill to have or one mindset to have. But well, I guess it's gonna be the same thing, right? I don't know if there's a different answer to that, like open, or maybe I already answered it in a way, convoluted, put the questions together to have like openness, and to your thoughts.
Yes, you already did answer that. We have to always keep upscaling ourselves. Do not be stagnant and keep challenging yourself. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. And I think that you have left us with a lot of teachings that we will be carrying forward. And I sincerely thank you for these. Now it is time to open the floor for a Q&A session where our audience members and our IEEE members can ask questions to you. So if anyone has questions, please use the raise your hand option and I will invite you to ask that question.
There's a good question before that. Like, I have a question for you.
Yes,
All these people today, your audience, is that your current IEEE CIS team, or is it more of an open event? So I was confused. I think were they initially mentioned in one of the invites that's for the IEEE CIS team? Is that what it is? Okay.
I will answer that. Actually, first we thought that let's keep it for CIS team, but when I thought of streaming on YouTube, so it is going to be general. So I floated the message to all the interested people, they will join because it is 8:30 a.m. in the morning and I don't expect people who are not interested to join me. So that's what I thought and made that message public.
Gotcha. All right.
another setback that people might have had in joining is that currently we are in a 1 week holiday season, so they might be sleeping in late.
What is this holiday about? Why didn't we have that when I was in the
Well, our
college?
teachers are into some kind of annual gathering, so they are playing sports and having cultural events. And we also had Makar Sankranti, so everything combined together, they gave us a week's holiday.
Oh wow. I mean, I know that cultural program used to happen on the Makar Sankranti day. Back then, it wasn't a week long, but it's nice.
Now it's a 3 to 4 day long event.
Oh wow. Okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
man. It's also
Good
cold
for
here,
them.
so yeah, people love sleeping in.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, again, apologies for the time zone. It's really difficult to even for me to like arrange time to talk to my friends in India or something. It's so difficult because um, when I'm free in my evenings, they're already starting their routine and heading to work or something, and really cannot find time. And then when they are free in the evening, I am heading to work in the morning and I'm rushing with my schedule. Um, so weekends are the only ones, and even on weekends, there's just a short overlap in the time window. So yeah, a really difficult time zone to find overlaps with.
I'm truly grateful that you gave us your time and you're here to share insights. We don't mind waking up early for one
All
day to meet a guest like you.
right, thank you.
Now, let us open the floor for the questions. Guys, if you have question, please raise your hand. Harsh has raised his hand. Yes, Harsh, please, over to you.
Hello, Vedant Bahel.
Hello, Harsh.
I'm a second year student at the college, and I have a question. I actually was going through your LinkedIn and I saw that you were a TEDx speaker. I have a habit of just working while hearing a TEDx speech from someone I love, or like on a topic I just really thought was intriguing. That has become a habit of mine to just open up my designing work or or all the work I have from the college. So when I was going through your TEDx speech, you were talking about how opportunities strike anytime. You were talking about how you thought that you had failed at some point when you didn't get, when the competitive scale made you feel like that? I have, through the same process, I tried my hardest and had failed. For a small amount of time, I too felt like that, that okay, all the things are over, like everything is over. So how did that version of you and the version of you that that founded CIS, that approached people for research or internships without even caring, how did that journey happen?
Okay, so I think there are two in general, like for getting things in life, or that could be academic or non-academic. There are two approaches. One is just that you think of something, you have an objective in mind, and you plan towards that objective. Uh, you perfect yourself in doing something and give it a shot, right? And the other one is you just keep doing and go for every objective. In that case, you're not spending a lot of time um, perfecting into something, but you just, for example, if they're like um, 10, you have 10 things that you can do. The first idea would be to think of one of those 10 things, prepare for it, and just do that with focus. And the other idea would be to just try for all those 10 things, because you know what, there's element of luck, and maybe if you try for a lot of things, you'll achieve one of those. So I think, and there's no right or wrong with it. I think that there are those two ways, and both those ways are equally good. And I think for a longest time, or even now, I would go for the second one. I would try for a lot of things and aim for and be, I guess, sufficiently good into it, not if not perfect, and hope for the results. Um, Again, another example, which would be a real life example, would be that instead of applying for one internship and really tailoring my resume for that, I would just apply for 10 internships with a common resume and just hope that one of it will land up. So I think that was the mindset I've been following for a lot of time, and even in the college, with studying CIS or doing things, even if I don't know if there'll be success or not, which is okay. We'll just give it a shot, kind of thing, which I kept doing, overcoming from adversities. That in that way, there's so many failures with that process, because if you apply for 10 things and only you know that the ratio is just going to be 1 of 10, you're already expected for 9 failures. You're already expecting 9 failures, and that way you get used to the failure so easily, and you just keep going. I think that's the idea I've been following for the long time. Does that answer your question? I don't know if it does, but it's
Yes, like
somewhere around that.
yes, it actually answered my question perfectly. Hearing you talk made me remember a quote that I heard a long time ago, that the goddess of luck, Nike, from the Greek mythology, only sits on the shoulder of those people who have worked hard. Like,
Yep.
she's the goddess of victory and luck at the same time. So yeah,
Mhm.
that I remember. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Harsh, for that great question and shedding light on Greek mythology in this early morning. Now, let's move on to the next question. Yes, Sarthak, over to you.
Thank you, Rajkumar. Bhaiya. Uh, it's our good luck only, as Harsh mentioned, कि Vedant sir has giving their
Oh,
time to
no,
us.
good. Sorry, it's not needed.
So my
Sorry.
question will
Yeah.
be like, what advice would you like to give to the volunteers who feel their contribution is less visible?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question, and that has been a problem since always. Like that's a problem in general in any club, or 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 any organization or department, like for every employee, it feels they raise a question whether their contributions are visible, if the leadership is really seeing what they're doing. To some degree, there is an idea of self-marketing. You have to put yourself out there. You have to tell people if it matters to you, if really you are looking for validation and you think it's going to be difficult without validation. That's when it's important to really put yourself out there and tell people that what you're doing um, uh, is valuable and is of meaning. But if it doesn't matter, if you don't think that validation is getting you, like that recognition is going to get you anything other than just self-validation, then probably try to limit it, try to hold your thoughts. Maybe it doesn't matter to get that recognition. In which case it's really about just your inner feeling, and you can control that. If you know you have contributed to something, and if you know that that contribution has been impactful, you can celebrate it for yourself. You don't have to have others celebrate it for you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sarthak. Does anybody else? Yes, Shreya. Please, over to you.
Thank you, Rajkumar. Hi, Vedant Bahel. Good evening, or may I say good morning to everyone. I am Shreya Karai, the research team lead of IEEE CIS. And my question is regarding your early research journey, like you were involved in several research projects simultaneously in your college time. And each project required a different mindset and skill set. And if I talking about me and my team, many of us have faced like in a restless mindset, we lose our interest while working on a same project and a same problem statement, may I say. Looking back, how did you manage multiple projects, help you to develop a research discipline, stay focused, and gradually define a critical thinking mindset?
I think I answered partially that question when Raj Kumar asked me about like early research mindset and what that made me learn. And I think that frustration is legit. Like there is frustration with working on the same thing for a long time, especially if there's no constant success into it, which is so unlikely in research. You have more constant unsuccessful endeavors than successful efforts. But which is what it teaches you. It teaches you patience and just to live through it. And what I've learned with research, the good thing about these unsuccessful events in research is that you can also market those unsuccessful events. Not only you learn from it, but unsuccessful research is also successful in the sense that, for example, you run an experiment to do something. Let's say that the hypothesis is that can you use one of the machine learning models to predict some disease using some images? You try to do that, you run some experiments, and you see what the results are. And the result was unsuccessful. The result is that, hey, cannot do it, failure. Does that mean end of the world for you? No. You can still write a paper about it. You can still say, I tried this and this was bad. This was unsuccessful. And why that is important in research is because someone else is also working on the same project in the other corner of the world. And they might also do the same thing. And why reinvent the wheel when you know that it's not going to be successful? Or if the specific methods that you followed did not really give you success, that person can go for some other methods by reading your paper. And so even unsuccessful events that way are valued in research. So that was one of the learnings I had. And I guess that's the way you keep yourself motivated for different projects. Um, I also did a lot of projects during my research journey. That was also due to the fact that I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I think initially I started with some quantum machine learning. I switched on to swarm robotics. I switched on to education. I switched on to healthcare. So just always jumped around different fields of research or in general fields of machine learning. That was also because the key reason for that was because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And as I said early on in answering one of the question Rajkumar asked, that the way of finding out what works for you is by trying everything, and then you know if something works for you or not. So that was what I was doing. So I think it's just part of the process, rite of passage.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya. Does anybody else have any questions? Yes, Bhakti, over to you.
Hello, Vedant. I saw on your LinkedIn and I gave your introduction. So you have worked on a lot of healthcare projects despite having your whole education in computer science, and currently you're working at BC Children's Hospital Research Institute. So is it something that drives you towards healthcare industry, or is it just coincidence? Because I am also from tech background and I'm working on a project towards medical care of India all over that is going to contribute a lot if it successes. So, what is your standpoint on that, and what does drive you towards the healthcare industry?
Yeah. So something impactful has always been a focus. Like I wanted to do some, like when I think about working in a corporate and designing one of the applications or one software for Microsoft, I feel like what is that gonna get you? That's gonna get Microsoft more money and for a corporate to grow. And where do I see my impact into society? What was my contribution to society? So I think that has always been a question for me, something that I'm not able to relate to. So I really want something which has like societal value and societal contribution and some mission focused and mission driven efforts. Um, so healthcare has been under the alley through that. Um, Even before joining the Children's Hospital here, I did some personal projects in that space. Even during COVID, I was trying to analyze some chest X-rays using computer vision to try to find out if there is something that can be done um, to have some automated extraction of COVID disorders or fragments in the X-rays. Um, so when I completed my master's, I got a chance to talk to one of the department which does implement AI for pediatric research at the institute, and I got this job. Um, but I never had taken any life science courses or healthcare courses as part of my formal training, like engineering, and maybe we had one biomedical engineering course in first year, which was really a short course with limited modules. Wasn't really enough, and in general, I didn't really study bio since what my 10th grade or something, because I did PCM in my 11th, 12th. So it was difficult, um, but and it also entailed a lot of learning from scratch. Like when I started this job, I started with working on some neurosurgery and orthopedics project, and I did not know anything about that, like no idea at all. So there was a lot of learning of life sciences courses, and there were so many medical jargons, some medical terminologies that I didn't really understand, which also took a lot of time to learn. But as I kept learning, I was more fascinated by those. In fact, in 1.5 years of working at this institute, I think I'm pivoted my career in general and the things I do has pivoted more towards these medical sides where I have to understand more of the medical sciences than computer science. Like the implementation is done by someone else. My idea is to, or my job is to think about how something can be done. Ideation is what I do, which entails a lot of biology. I don't know where it's going to take me. I don't know what my next goal is going to be. If to do a PhD or something else, that I'll find out. But yeah, definitely healthcare is going to be something I'll stick to for a long time. One good thing about being here is that I can also do a MD without doing any MBBS here. So different medical science structure. So that might be something I'll do if I don't do a PhD. So we'll see.
I think I relate to that a lot because I am someone who used to like biology a lot till 10th grade and then dropped the subject completely. And I have no idea of what is going on in the field of healthcare right now. I am a second year student right now, and I have been working on this project since 3, 4 months. And I get that a lot that you don't know anything about healthcare. Uh, how are you the perfect person to work on this? And do you suggest to me that I should just go all in and do my best and learn along the way like you did? Or do you suggest me to do the research beforehand, learn about medical terminologies, and then go for it?
Well, it really also depends on what degree of medical sciences you want to get into. I think the overlap between computer science and medical science has a lot of potential, like a lot of future. Um, Even all the clinicians here are trying to learn how some of their work can be automated, how you can use large language models to uh, do some clinical evaluations or study medical reports. All of those are like so big here and has a growing potential that building a career in that overlap might help. Um, so I'm not sure to what degree you want to get into, but if that overlap is something that fascinates you, you can start with a project. You don't have to learn all the jargons or all the medical terminologies. You can start with one project and learn more about that one disease, um, the biology around that, and see how you can automate or how you can use applied computer science for that specific area of medical science, which can be really small. So you don't really spend a lot of time learning life sciences. Um, but yeah, there is some degree of learning that you need to do there.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll surely reach out if I need any help.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Bhakti. Yes, Prajakta, over to you.
Hi Vedant, I'm
So
Prajakta. So my question is, in your experience, what is the most common mistake students make while building professional networks? And what would you suggest they should do differently to build stronger long-term connections?
um, I think you have to really connect with people on a level um that they would understand. Um, for example, um, just sending connection requests on LinkedIn is not really connecting. That's not what connection is.
Yes.
Um, if there is, if you can find some overlap between what they are doing and what you're doing, and send them an impactful message that they can relate to, that might help. And there needs to be, it doesn't have to, it shouldn't be artificial that or transactional. It really needs to be something you really want to do and you're passionate about. You don't have to connect with like 200 people. You have to just, you have to connect with one or two of them, but really those who you can see that what they have done in life is what you want to do. And when you have this one or two, you can have a mission driven connection. So you can say, hey, I read this paper, and you have to really read those papers. So you have to really know what they did. So you can say, hey, I read this paper. Now, I I'm talking about this style of connection because I'm from research. So for me, my connections are researchers, and then I would read paper and the work they have done. Um, and if that's something that I like, I'll talk to them. That can I jump on a maybe quick call and discuss how you did this? And that type of connection is what's going to help you make long-term impactful connections. Um, I don't think any of the other connections that LinkedIn connections that I have is going to get me anything. That's just a paper connection or social media follower kind of thing, which isn't impactful.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yes, Arihant.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello, Vedant sir. Good morning, everyone. So my question was, since you've had a good amount of exposure in research over the years and practical experience in your healthcare domain, plus tech domain, which healthcare technologies do you believe will have the most real-world impact over the next 5-10 years? And what role would the research students would play in that?
Well, there are many sides to it. Like there's definitely predictive modeling and forecasting, which entails some kind of clinical decision support system. So we're not trying to replace um, traditional methods. We're just finding ways to better support clinician. We're not replacing doctors. I don't think that is going to happen for a long, long time. I know some people are scared of that, or some people are scared of how AI is going to take away some of the jobs, but it's really not going to take away jobs which require thinking, which requires brain, which requires a high level of skill. It might replace jobs which are more which can be which are deterministic, which can be coded in a way. So and clinicians is not one of them. So we're trying to create some clinical decision support systems which can assist the clinicians in saving time, in doing better optimization. Like some of the projects that we are working on involves automated reading of X-rays and um, trying to make it structured so that it saves time for surgical planning. Um, Other than that, I think the healthcare technology that has a potential in future is also a level lower than that. Like you don't even have to think about high-end stuff like machine learning or LLMs. Even before that, creating some dashboards or better streamlining data might help. Especially in India, I think even today, a lot of doctors and clinicians rely on paper and pen and pads for making notes and giving referrals or prescriptions. And we are losing on a lot of data, a lot of historical data. Like if I am a patient, if I go to a doctor, my reports are lost because the reports are on paper. Maybe I kept it somewhere. The doctor doesn't have those reports, and then I lost where the reports are. So you're losing a lot of history. So there's so much just potential just in that simple thing. Something very trivial can be solved easily, but hasn't been done. So machine learning implementation is even farther. Like we have to first solve these degree of problems, that very early problems. Like and especially if you don't have data, how are you going to how are you going to apply machine learning, right? You have to first have better ways of collecting data, have patient history recorded, and work from there. So I think even that, like primitive development of dashboards and better data management practices is something that has potential for the coming time.
Actually, that's exactly what the project me and Bhakti Shangani were working on. We were gonna take the prescriptions by doctors and put it in a database so that it's easier for the doctors as well as the patients to access that data and implement AI to uh, understand the patterns behind those healthcare points.
Who's gonna put that data? Is that doctor or the patients? Who's gonna put
Directly
that
either from the
prescription
doctor's
into
side
your?
or from the patient side.
Okay. Yeah. So if, from the doctor's side, there is a different degree of problem in India. The problem is not technology. The problem is not that no one saw the problem. The problem is that a lot of so I personally worked on this problem in India, and a lot of doctors, the reason they have not automated or used technology in their clinics or hospital is because they do not report all those patients, and they're trying to save taxes on their earnings. So if I have 100 patients visiting me every day, and if I use some technical software to record those patients, then all those patients will be recorded, which means that my income can be calculated. If the software says there were 100 people, then maybe you can calculate that if the per visit cost is 1,000 rupees, then 100 into 1,000 is how much I earned in that day, and which means that I have to then pay taxes on that. So a very reason for doctors to not do that in India is to save taxes, and that's why they rely on non-recorded bookkeeping. So it's a different level of problem. I don't know how to solve that problem, but I think it's a good one that you're working on it. Hopefully you find a solution.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, Bhakti.
The same issue is on patient side as well, but it's related to health insurance. I've mostly seen a lot of health insurance scams that happen, include patients and doctors both. So if there are no receipts kept of what report has been needed or what prescription has been provided, they can charge the insurance side anything basically if both are into it. So if there is a way to automate it, then they will lose out on that. I think that is why the delay in healthcare technology is happening. So
Yeah, I think
we're working on a
sorry to cut
way
you
to.
out, but I think the Ayushman Bharat Yojana will change things, because then there's a nationwide standardized implementation of that process. When I was working on this, it was before that the government scheme came in, and it was even more difficult because privatized industry is difficult to tap into, and no one really wants a new player to be tapping into their market. Um, so maybe things will change now with the government ways of doing things and the standardized ways of doing things.
Yes, hoping for the best.
Thank you, Bhakti. Does anybody else has any questions? While we get a raise of hands, I have one question, Vedant. Uh,
Yeah.
all of us have beliefs in our life growing up, right? So, what was that one belief that has changed now when you compare it from your past self?
Well, I guess there isn't any one as such, because it's not a one-time process. It's constant. More than And it's also not like the change is black and white, that something was 0 for me and now it's 1. It's an evolution. You're evolving over the time. Um, the version of me years ago was very different than what I am today. But at the same time, the version of me yesterday was very different than what I am today. Um, so it's 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 just evolution. But I guess if I can just relate it to my answers before that. If you have an open mind and if you're learning and you're observing things, it helps. Um, so, and observation comes from just looking around, because that's how you catch all the opportunities, and all the opportunities to just grow in life and learn things.
Follow up on that. If the present Vedant were to give an advice to his past self, what would it be?
Well, maybe to just be more patient. I think working with uncertainty is not something that um, that I was good with earlier on. Like it would give me a lot of anxiety. I'm like, why is this not happening? Like if I have put efforts, why something is not coming true? Um, and or just waiting it out that I've applied for something and the result is going to be in a month from now. That month would be terribly full of anxiety for me. So I think um, just an advice would for my past self would be to work through that in a way that um, it doesn't matter what the result is going to be. Keep putting efforts, and the process of putting efforts itself is learning for you. Doesn't matter what the result is going to be in that time frame, because when you have put that efforts, the result might be in a different way than you're expecting it to be. It might not be that the application is going to get accepted, but something else will happen, which is related to that effort, because you have, in that process of putting efforts, you have learned something else. You have just evolved through your previous version. So that's probably the advice that my current self might give to my past self, so that it helps with the anxiety I had with the uncertainty.
Thank you for the valuable advice. I believe that most of us present here are currently at the stage where your past self was. So this advice is really applicable to us right now. With that being said, if anybody else has questions, please raise your hands. Yes, Uday, over to you.
Yeah, I was waiting for everyone to ask the questions, and I will ask the questions in the end. So my question is very basic. Everyone was asking about intellectual questions, research in healthcare. My simple question is regarding my role, that it sometimes become difficult for me to delegate the tasks to people. So how shall I handle that being the chairperson of the chapter?
Well, first of all, you need to make an environment for them to feel that they have authority, and that you all are equal into this. These titles really do not matter, right? Title growth beyond title. Um, Even I remember, I think um, there was a when we formed the chapter, and there was like they were interviewing people. We were interviewing people, and we were like, what's the more better position? Is it the secretary of the chapter or the vice president, or vice chair? Because on what is that, IEEE tracker or something, the website they have where you officially register, the ordering is different. The secretary comes in second position, and then the vice chair comes on later. Um, but intellectually, intuitively, it seems like a vice chair should be the second position, and secretary should come after that. Um, and I remember that we spent a lot of time discussing that with the professors and the other student members, and that was so stupid, because in the end it didn't really matter, because everyone was just doing the same thing. So creating that environment matters. Like it it, it isn't really about who you are, but you're all together into this. And if it's a team effort, then it needs to be a team effort. It needs to be collaborative. It shouldn't be one person doing something. So if you're facing you and in that collaborative environment, you don't have to really delegate, because it's self-delegation for everyone. Everyone is just their own chairperson. Everyone is chairperson in that in that time frame, in that frame.
That beautifully answers my question. So if anyone else doesn't have questions, I will proceed with few more questions. Is anyone having any question?
Well, I have a question for all of you in general, that, or maybe the IEEE CIS members, which I think is the majority here, what your plan for this year is. So maybe towards the end, once all the questions are done, Uday, you can lead that and others can add to it. But yeah, we can have, who was that project, or someone was asking some more questions. Yeah, Tanisha.
Yes, Anisha, over to you.
Hello, Bhaiya. I really want to ask this personal question. Like, when you are constantly surrounded by highly talented people, it can slowly drain your motivation and fill your mind with self doubt, making you question your own worth and potential. So, like, how do you overcome that feeling?
Well, everyone is on their own path, really. I mean, yes, but that doesn't mean that feeling doesn't come through. That seeps in all the time, even for me. And then I try to put myself in their shoe. Like I think of, say, one of my friends achieved something, and I'm like, oh, how did they do that? Like, why am I not doing that? Or why am I not that successful as them? Um, the first question I would ask is, does it, do I really want that? Like, is the achievement they got specifically something that I was working towards first? Yes or no? And maybe most of the time the answer is no, that they're on their own path. That's something they did was, I really didn't ever put efforts towards that specific thing. So how can I expect to achieve that thing? And then the follow-up question to that is that why did I not put efforts towards that if that was achievable? Um, well, that was because I never wanted to. It was never, I wasn't ever passionate about it. Um, so it really comes down to that everyone is their own path, and if you really dive deeper into things, why I did not do it, or ask the five why questions, it kind of helps get detached to that feeling or that feeling of comparison.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tanisha. Does anybody else have any questions? It seems that this was it. Uday, over to you. You said you have a lot of questions. Please ask a few.
Sure, Rajkumar. So one thing which I had a thought in between when Vedant was saying that you should try different things. So I tried a lot of things during my second year as I joined Toastmasters, I joined IEEE, I joined the entrepreneurship cell. I was class representative, and the fifth responsibility which I took was Center of Excellence. I was a member of Center of Excellence. So initially it was good because I was in the beginning phase. But when I'm in third year now, everyone is expecting me to be a more responsible, a more accountable, and be at a higher leadership position. And currently it is such a time that I can't dedicate too much of time to all these things. I can give short span of time, but I can't dedicate fully to any one organization. And being a chairperson, I need to dedicate my time to this chapter. But other things are also demanding. So how shall I handle this situation?
Well, I think you mistook my message when I said you should try everything. You should definitely should try everything, but not everything at once. That's not what I was trying to sell. You need to prioritize things and see what is important for you and dedicate your time into things that means more to you. I think and if you already did that, I mean, since you're already into it, now what's the solution? Leave it out. Maybe you already spent what, 1 year trying these five things. Yeah, and so you should probably have an answer to what is more important, and what you can quit and what you can focus more on. So I mean, that was the objective of trying different things, right? To find out what works for you, and probably you should have that answer by now.
Yes, I have answers, but one thing which holds me back is how shall I ask them that I have other priorities? Those are my high priorities, and I want to quit now. How shall I tell them now?
Well, that's a good learning to have. I think that is a difficult one. You are often just people pleasing and trying to not offend people. Um, but again, at the same time, it's your life, and you need to take decisions for it. And sometimes it's gonna hurt some people, but it's also not hurting. I mean, it's not really emotional hurting. It's just like, hey, my priorities are changing, and I tried it, and this is not working for me. So just, I think, open communication, and um, but making sure it doesn't impact it. Like, right? For example, if I leave the job, I'm not going to leave my job today, but if I were to leave my job today, I'll make sure that there is a way to replace me. It's not going to be something um, like I'm breaking hearts, or I'm just going to leave whatever's doing all the projects just stagnant. I need to make sure that there is a replacement. So I'll think about, even though that's not my job, because if I get a new opportunity, I'll just say, hey, I'm leaving, and I'll just go away. And that's what is like a bare minimum. That's my job profile. But I'll do more than that. I'll make sure that I'll ask, is it possible for you to hire someone in the next 1 month to replace me? That's my first question. Second, can you maybe hire them while I'm here so that I can maybe train them and tell them how to do things, and so that there's better bridging that can be done between when I leave and when you hire them. So things like that, which will just help you do some damage control. So yeah, just communicate openly to those people. Tell them that it's not working for you anymore. Tell them that you tried it for a year and that was the objective. You didn't really know if it was your if it was your thing or not, and now you know that it's not your thing. But you're not going to leave today. You're telling them 2 months in advance, and you're telling them that, hey, these are the 2 months. I'm ready to help you find someone else. I'm ready to help that someone else learn things, so that it's going to be easy for you to replace me.
That makes it really helpful for me to basically say people that, okay, I have found you a replacement. Now it's my time. You need to understand that I can't be there always, because the point is, after some point of time, people start to be dependable on you. They are like, if Uday is there, he will handle a lot of things. uh, it sometimes makes me difficult to make them feel that I won't be there always. I can directly say it to them that, sir, I can be there always. But
Yeah.
now when you have said that to me, I will definitely implement it, and it will definitely help me to grow and prioritize my career, where I am thinking to take it right now.
Well, it's definitely a long-term achievement. This is not just about your decision for these 5 clubs, but you're going to land up in similar positions all the time in life where you have to say no to things, and saying no is difficult, but I think there are just better ways of saying no.
Thank you. I got it. Does anyone else have any questions, or shall I? Okay, there are questions. Yes, Nodali.
Hi, Vedant. First of all, thank you so much for joining us today. And I wanted to know, how did you explore CIS? And from searching CIS to bringing CIS to college, what were the obstacles?
We had a lot of IEEE clubs in the college even before CIS. Like when I joined in my first year, I think there was the IEEE, the regular student branch, and then the Computer Science Society. And I had a little bit of problem with the way they were functioning at that time, not with the societies, but the way they were functioning. Um, I don't know why a lot of these clubs think they are an event management company. That's not what it is. And I hope you guys are not doing that with IEEE CIS, because you're really not event managers, right? It's not, the focus shouldn't be, hey, what events to do and how can we get more audience, because those things do not matter. What matters is your personal growth. Like at IEEE CIS, when we started it, for the longest time, we were just doing events for the club members, just because it was our club, and the main objective is for us to grow, not as event managers, but as core computer scientists, which is what we are there in that college for. So we would do a lot of internal professional development events. One of the research programs was part of it, part of that process. So that was also one of the motivations to start this chapter, a separate chapter, so that I could curate my ideas into it, because the previous chapters were just not functioning for me. So we started IEEE CIS, and then I was just searching through different societies that we could start, and CIS seemed to be the better society, which closely resonated with AI and machine learning that I was um, working on at that time and even today. There were initial obstacles, but I think in general we had a lot of support from the institution and the professors. Personally, I had a lot of obstacles because I wasn't part of the AI or data science degree program. I was in the IT department. So for me, it was difficult to manage the interdepartmental conflicts with me being in the IT department but not supporting one of the IT department clubs or something, and rather supporting the AI department clubs, which was just there were some bureaucratic problems around that. So I don't know, but I personally was very revolutionary at that time. Not something that I'm recommending people should be, but I would take up a lot of fights with a lot of professors and people in the college, which often landed me in more troubles than benefits. Mm, so I guess, yeah, there were some problems. We overcame them, but overall, the motivation of the chapter was to have something which is not event management, but rather something which really has an impact. I always told people that if we are doing an event, tell me how it really matters. Like, why shall we do that event? Not because we want to show numbers, and not because we want to show that it's important to do one event in 1 month. It is not. It doesn't really matter. The statistics, the numbers do not matter. If you really think there is something that people want, the students want, and there's an event that can bring them closer to their mission, um, we will do it. And even if it impacts 10 people, that's okay. It doesn't matter what the audience is. We don't want 100 people sitting there just for the sake of giving us audience or numbers or attendance. Even if there are 10 people, but those 10 people are learning from it and it changes the way they think, it changes their future career goals, that was a successful event. And we have had those events. And even with events, we were trying to have them still let people, like the IEEE CIS team, develop core skills. Like I remember the first event that we did was some, I think, Alexa workshop or something. So yes, people learned through that event, but what did my CIS members learn from that event? I asked one of the member who was really into software engineering. I told them that, you know what, for this event, I really want you to create one application that on registration, it generates a ticket with a QR code on it. So when people come for this event in person, your application should just scan that QR code, which will save us time for reporting the attendance and making sure whether people attended it or not. We don't want, because before that, people just had that Excel sheet and were marking manually present or not. And I was like, why not improve that? So that improves in general the delivery of the event, but also that person, that CIS member that day learned how to create that application, which did automated QR code and ticket generation, and also did scanning and recording of those events, which were some skills he could put on his resume. So it was important for the event, for the members to grow more than what an event was about.
Yes, thank you so much. And I also had one more question. Like, given your exposure to international education and research, and considering our many members have keen interest in research and pursuing education international, what advice would you like to offer to second and third year students at this stage?
Well, if it's about research, then you need to find the right niche that you want to take up. Research is very specific. Even saying that I want to research AI in healthcare seems like very broad to me. It's difficult to take, like if you say that to one of the labs and say I'm interested in AI in healthcare, they'll ask you, what within AI in healthcare are you interested in? Like what kind of AI and what kind of healthcare? And you'll be like, well, maybe some large language models for one of the disease. that's when they'll start talking. Even that is like broad, like how do you want to do that? Like there are very a lot of hows and whys when you talk about research and your interest. You need to be very specific and have a niche that you want to take up. The next one is looking for people who do that. That can simply be going on Google Scholar, searching those papers and looking at who the authors of those papers are. You can also rank them. Like if you on Google Scholar, you can go for different domains, and then you can see researchers ranked or those domains ranked. Like you can get a ranked result of those people, and then you can see, which is based on number of citations. You can see who is the most cited person for AI in medicine. And open those profiles, see who they are. Most of the time, they're professors in academic institutions, and you can approach them. You can email them. This is something that I'm interested in. Show some proof of that interest. It shouldn't just be interest, but this is something I'm interested in. I've already worked in this area. I did this mini project. Are you looking for students? Are you looking for any master's students in the near future? If you are, can we maybe get on a call and discuss it? Do that with that list, like that list of maybe top 100 people. Find those, email them. Maybe if you email 100 people, maybe one of them will reply. The ratio is really going to be very bad. Don't get sad if you don't get replies. It's going to be 1 out of 100 who will reply positively. Maybe 10 people will reply, and 9 of them will say we are not hiring, or I do not want to get on a call. 90 of them will ignore your email, and 10 of those who reply, maybe one of them will say, yeah, let's get on a call, and that can still be unsuccessful. So then you have to email 100 more. So it's going to be a lot of efforts, but that's the process you need to follow. Find the right people, prove that you're interested in that field so that they have approved, right? Maybe 100 people are emailing them in a month saying that they're interested in, but how did they find out that you are the one? So you need to prove that your interest is just not interest, but you have put tangible efforts into that field, and that might help you land a call where you can discuss more.
Yes,
Thank you,
so
Vedant. Now, I sincerely thank you, Vedant, for sharing your journey with us and these valuable insights. These are going to really help us because we are currently at that stage in life where we really need that guidance, especially for someone who has experienced this journey. That being said, now I would like to conclude the Q&A session and hand over the control to Uday. Uday, over to you.
Thank you, Rajkumar. So, Vedant, you asked about the planning for the entire year. So, I will quickly brief what we have planned for the year. First,
do you have a theme this year? We when we did it in the first year, we had a theme for the entire year. That was also because I think the funding we got for that year demanded a theme. So do you have something like that this year?
We haven't exactly portrayed a theme on vTools, but what we have thought is UA AI will be our theme for the year. First event which we conducted on 3rd January was regarding generative AI and cybersecurity. Next up was this session aligned. Third event will probably by the end of this month, which will be around APIs, and it will be more for first year students who don't have much technical knowledge. So we will impart them the knowledge that how GitHub works, how you need to create account, how APIs are called. So that will be beneficial for the first year ones. And there is AI Odyssey planned for the month of March, in the first week of March, most probably. 6th and 7th are the tentative dates. These are the 3 things which I've planned for the tenure. And I would disclose this in this meeting that I am planning to step down after March, as new members who are in 4th sem and 5th sem will get the opportunity to lead, because during 6th sem, college pressurizes us with certain amount of things. So it might become difficult for individual to handle a lot of things. For me, it's difficult because I am already engaged in 3 to 4 things. I have already said no to 2 things, but the remaining 3 things are still going on. I have stepped down from CR. I am just part of entrepreneurship cell now, but it is difficult for me to say no, and I feel that person in fourth sem will has more time explore, has more time to devote towards CIS. So that's collective decision which I am announcing here in this meet. So no one had a prior idea that this is going to happen, but I am planning this. After March, I will be stepping down after AIODC. This is the planning for the upcoming month, 2 to 3 months.
Okay. You need to identify someone early on and then make sure
Yes.
you have an overlap to train them and give up their duties rather than just leaving in a day and
Yes.
then disappearing for a while. Um, what are the other things like what maybe the other members can talk about what they want to do and how they think uh, some activities will benefit the members. Like it doesn't have to be an event for someone else, but even for yourself.
Yes, Rajkumar.
So my plan for this year is like on a personal scale, we have a subject AI in healthcare. This is a huge coincidence. So we are planning to, with a group of 5 friends of mine, we are planning to publish a paper. And before that, we are trying to conduct a case study and identify what our interest is. So we plan to do all these before April. So we have 4 months, and currently we are just exploring ideas. That is one of the things. Apart from that, last year I focused too much on reading and ignored the technical aspect of things. So this year I'm planning to explore more about development and full stack and hope to polish my technical skills as we are coming off near to the placements. So I'm hoping to get some good internships as well in my interest area.
Mhm. That's nice. Yeah, I think some other things that we did as part of the internal events were just like um, some internal discussions. Like we would take up a topic like AI in medicine, and all the members would read something about it, some book, some paper, and then we would use that COE AIML roundtable because it's such a nice roundtable to have a discussion and sit there and put the thoughts in, like everyone, because if you're learning by yourself, maybe you'll read one paper, two paper, and that's your capacity. But if everyone, like 20 people or how many ever you have, 10 people are each reading two papers, then you can have one discussion in 1 hour and you can learn 20 papers um, by that mutual knowledge sharing. So that's something you can do if that's it can be AI in medicine or something else. But yeah, that was one of the examples for you to channel your energy for the members to learn things within the club.
I'll surely try that. Over to you there.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Rajkumar. And when I would like to disclose my personal goal as well, which I am preparing. I am actually preparing for GATE, which is there in next month. Also, I will be giving the GATE in final year. So I am now willing to do only 2 things. One is research, and the other thing is GATE. Placement will be there. I will be appearing for placement. If I get placed, I will think of it. I'm not saying that I won't work, but I would let nature disclose what is there in my life. I'm not planning anything that I will go here only, I will go there only. I'm just working on my interests. That's my goal for the coming year. With that being said, I feel that anyone else doesn't have any questions and we will smoothly proceed to the vote of thanks. Does anyone has any questions or shall I proceed? Just give me a thumbs up. I will understand. Okay. I'm seeing thumbs up. With that, we finally come to the end of this session. On behalf of IEEE Computational Intelligence Society, I am honored to propose the vote of thanks for today's fireside chat, which is CIS Unplugged. First and foremost, I would like to express my sincere gratitude towards our director, sir, and chapter advisor, that is Thomas ma'am, who made this event possible, because without their motivation, without their help, such events can't take place. Their support plays a crucial role in shaping the direction and values of our chapter. It also gives me immense pleasure to thank our distinguished guest speaker, Mr. Vedant Bahel, for taking out time from his busy schedule and sharing his journey with us, experiences with us, and guiding us to the right path in our lives. Your experience in research and learning beyond titles truly resonated with all of us and made this session insightful and inspiring. Now, as a small token of gratitude, we are honored to present a virtual token of appreciation to you as a mark of respect from our end and CIS Unplugged. So, this is a virtual token of appreciation. So, please give a huge round of applause, or a virtual round of applause, I would say, for this. Okay. Thank you
you so
so
much
much.
for having me. It was, I think, and I didn't realize it has been so long since I graduated. Even like when I think it was Bhakti who was introducing me, and she said I recently graduated with my master's, and I just did a smirk there because even that feels like a bit far. So it was, yeah, it was very nostalgic to just be here and talk to all of you, because I remember being there in your position and thinking about how things can be delivered in the best way possible to benefit the students and in the college. So yeah, good luck to that, and I hope you find your ways in this process, especially when Uday leaves and then you need to reconfigure a lot of things. Um, but yeah, good luck with that, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Right.
Now, with that, I would finally hand over to the host to conclude this session formally.
Thank you so much for your kind words. As we come to the end of today's session, I'd like to once again thank Mr. Vedant Bahel for his time and insights, and thank Rajkumar for moderating such an engaging conversation. Thank you to all our participants for joining us and making this episode of CIS Unplugged truly meaningful. We will be sharing the feedback form and updates about upcoming sessions shortly, so please stay connected with us. Before we sign off, let's take a quick group photograph, and with that, we will officially be ending today's session. Everyone, please turn your cameras off on for the good group photograph. Yes, Uday.
Before that, I would like to give you a huge shout out to the moderator and anchor who entirely took this session from the beginning towards the end. So please give a virtual round of applause for both of them. And to all my members who woke up at 8:30, joined the session, I'm so very thankful to you to attend this session. And I feel you will be taking some keynote addresses or some things with you from this session. Now, with that, we will take the group screenshot. Shift, is it done?
Yeah, it's done.
So thank you so much, Vedant, for joining in. We are
Thank you.
glad to host you, and we look forward to have such more engaging talks or some other session planned in future.
Yeah, I always keep an eye out. That I think the other day when, like in the beginning, when you announced your new committee, was that in September or something? I don't quite remember, but uh, I messaged Thomas ma'am that, hey, congratulations for another successful year and sixth tenure, I think fifth tenure of IEEE CIS. And she was quite amazed that I still keep an eye out on the updates, and I do. I do look at the Instagram and the YouTube occasionally to see what's happening. So yeah, keep doing good stuff, keep it up, and I'll keep checking those things out.
Yes. Thank you for the motivation, and we will definitely make you proud and lead the legacy to the year further ahead and the time which comes for IEEE CIS. Thank you so much.
All right then. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye
Have a
bye.
great evening. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Members, stay back. Guests, thank you for attending. I acknowledge your presence here as well. I formally thank Arihant. I can see Arihant. I can see Om who was there. I can see a few guests who had joined. So I thank your presence as well. I didn't mention it during the formal vote of thanks, but I do mention it right now. Thank you for attending. It's always pleasure to have Arihant Om around who are always interested to listen and give inputs whenever the speaker asks, or they're attentive basically. So thank you so much for being there. Now members can stay. Guests, you might leave the meeting. Okay. How was the